Not even 48 hours after episode 8, the mid-season finale, and the world is still just trying to cope with what we've seen.
Yeah, the internet is exploding. People are not happy. I mean,
they're not.
I'm surprised Scott Gimple has not had like bomb threats, death threat. I'm
if he hasn't already, he probably will.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
People take this stuff seriously. Which, by the way, don't do that. That's stupid.
No. We are not calling for any violence against anyone involved with the Walking Dead show.
Chandler Riggs is alive and well, and I expect to see him doing some really big things in the future. I'm a fan of him from the show. You know, I'm really excited to see what the future holds for him, and but just keep that in mind. Don't go writing death threats. I mean, Chandler Riggs is alive.
No, that was not a suggestion.
It's just that but people are crazy. No,
they
you're right.
Very well are, yes.
There probably are people that have written or writing, so don't do that.
No.
But we're here today to discuss why this was a mistake, or even if it was a mistake to kill Carl off the show. Now, granted, we're not show writers, so our opinion in the grand scheme of things matters very little, but we love to discuss The Walking Dead, so this is just another chance to discuss the show. So this is all opinion-based, so please don't give us death threats.
No.
We're just sharing our opinions on the show. We've been big fans. Matty D not joining us this morning. It's a little early for, Matt works afternoon shift. So
I think he had a chiropodist appointment.
Yeah.
I think so, yes.
Totally. Mm-hmm. But and we're going to do some comic comparison here, and Matt doesn't really follow the comics. But alas, he will be, in our next podcast. He's not gone nowhere.
No.
Okay, I personally think that it was a mistake to kill. We didn't even introduce ourselves, did we, for new listeners? We just assume that all our listeners are our subscribers.
Oh, that's true.
I'm Justin.
And I'm JP, right? Yeah, that's correct.
I had to think about that. So we're just getting back to it. I don't know, man. I feel they're really shooting themselves in the foot. I feel like they're cutting, and I understand them not wanting to follow the comics to the letter. I understand that because you want to separate yourself from it to an extent, but I mean, Carl was the future of the show, I thought.
Yeah. There's a lot of wasted storytelling there. I mean, obviously, if you read the comics, the dynamic with Carl and Negan. Just, the love triangle. There's just so much good Carl stuff that now has just fell to the wayside.
Right, and you've brought up a good point. I didn't even think about it. Carl has a relationship with the daughter of Alpha, which is the leader of the Whisperers, and that leaves Sophia, who, if you don't read the comics, surprise, surprise, is still alive. Spoiler alerts, by the way. And so you have this love triangle between them. I mean, Carl is not really showing any affection to Sophia, but Sophia has the hots for Carl, and she always has. But Carl's, got affections for someone else. And so you had brought up a good point that you thought it was going to be Enid they would do that with. Enid and Carl had, they would have the love triangle, and now all that's gone.
Yeah, that was my assumption. But, it's interesting. We've had a lot of our listeners comment that they actually thought that maybe, and I think there's a lot of false hope, a Whisperer, and the Whisperers, if you don't read the comics, is basically the next Omega level threat in the Walking Dead world. They're a group of just savages who disguise themselves as the dead, and they live their lives basically in these dead skins. Mm-hmm. And they thought that maybe a Whisperer bit Carl, which I think is, a little ridiculous.
They definitely, Whisperer didn't, I repeat, a Whisperer did not bite Carl.
No,
did not happen. Whisperers, they stab most of the time.
Yeah, they're not just out there doing zombie stuff.
Oh man, you know what, we're dressing like them. I mean, they're not even cannibals.
No.
It's not.
I mean, it's merely for practicality.
I wouldn't put it past them if times got desperate enough.
No, absolutely.
They're not your standard cannibals like the termites. But I think that I don't even know if they did keep Carl alive, part of me would be happy.
Yeah,
because I don't want to see him go. We've watched this kid grow up. I mean, he was 10 years old, I believe, right? I think he was around 10 in the first episode. And we've watched Chandler Riggs grow up on the show. We've watched Carl grow up. We've watched him go through changes. Watched him go through. Character development. We've seen him go from being kind of like I hate my dad and I want to do my own thing and I don't need nobody, that rebellious kind of teenager phase, up to being a young man and really taking charge. And I hate that we finally see him show yes, without a shadow of a doubt, he could lead Alexandria in his father's place. And then he gets we find out he's also dying in that same moment. So.
Yeah, but I'm telling if they copped out like that and Carl for whatever reason survived, I think they would lose more viewers than they may potentially lose by killing him off.
I agree.
You know, there are some people who are just gonna be like, Carl's gone, I'm not watching. I mean, that's what Granny Nana did when they killed Glenn.
Right.
So
has she been back since?
I mean, she'll glance at it here and there, but she's not a regular watcher like she was.
Wow. Yeah, some people, man, it's hard for them, especially when you lose a character like Carl. I mean, I don't know, like Carl was the driving force behind Rick. It's going to change everything. My main hope is that they did this and they have an end game in mind. I
hope so.
They are using this. This is a part of the story. I really hope that this wasn't done purely for shock value, because if it was, and they don't have a plan, a real plan, they just kind of like fumbled through the next half of the season. I mean, the show could be in trouble, man.
And that's a lot of the criticism they've been getting is, sloppy storytelling, which I don't agree with 100%. There's definitely certain plot lines I think they could have done without, the scavengers, the trash people, whatever you want to call them, like Rick just going there. I was just like, all right, that's
just
weird.
Kind of filling in time.
Yeah.
Unless, which again, we've admitted sometimes, though we love this show. I mean, it's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have admitted that sometimes we give the show more credit than it deserves in terms of creative writing. We always think, like I was going to say, well, maybe though the Scavengers will be a major player later. And they still could be. They still could be. Like it could be that they come in at the last moment, kind of like the Knights of the Vale in Game of Thrones, season 6. And save the day, as it looks like Rick and company are going to lose. So I don't know. Maybe that'll all, but as of right now, it does seem pointless. It's like filler.
Yeah, and it was like I mentioned on the last podcast, Daryl ordering him to crash that truck into the wall of the sanctuary, and then just leaving, just assuming, oh well, that worked out perfectly. Let's go back home.
Yeah, that worked out great. Let's not wait for them to run out. I mean, just imagine if they would have had all guns trained.
Yeah,
around the building.
Anything comes out, shoot it.
Right.
I mean, anything alive.
Yep.
I think some writing could be a little stronger. I really think they need some new blood creatively as far as writers, producers. I mean, maybe even a new showrunner. I mean, that's what Doctor Who's doing right now. I mean, same guys behind the wheel for too long, I mean, it's not always the best thing.
I mean, sometimes change isn't always a bad thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of times change isn't a bad thing, but I'm saying it's I don't know, some shows just have, like Game of Thrones, they're strong the whole way through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Breaking Bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the way through. And then this show, it's good, but I think there's just so many different irons in the fire as far as storytelling that, I don't know, man, it might not hurt to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Scott Gimple, I like Scott Gimple as a person. Like when I see him on interviews and stuff, I like Scott Gimple. He's entertaining. I think that he has good intentions, but I don't think he's necessarily the best showrunner they could have had for this show.
Yeah, agreed.
I would love, side note, to see an alternate universe where Frank Darabont never left the show, to see how it would be playing out under him.
Yeah, that'd be incredible.
I probably feel like an entirely different show. I mean, look at season 1 compared to now. I feel like season 1 was a lot more, it's just my opinion, a little bit more reality grounded. I mean, I know it's zombies, so how much reality can you have? And I feel like the newest stuff is a little more flashy. You know what I mean? A little more like, but I mean, still love it. But I'm just saying, I feel like there's a difference. But I don't think that this was a good idea. Of course, I'm going to stick with the show. I love the show. It's one of my favorites. I mean, I'm heartbroken. I've been sitting here all morning watching like R.I.P. Carl fan-made music videos, and definitely not crying.
No.
Not. But I mean, I think it was a mistake to kill Carl. I think that he was the future of the show. I think that the actor himself, Chandler Riggs, was becoming we watched his acting skill just grow throughout the show. And I don't know, man. I mean, he was Rick's motivation. At the end of the day, Rick just wanted to get, he had that to defend. And now I guess he's got Judith, who's like not even really his kid. Not that he shouldn't love her any less, but I'm just saying, we haven't had much emphasis on Judith. So they're going to have to really work overtime to make me feel some kind of connection with her and Rick.
Yeah.
I mean, I know she's his daughter, but I mean, Rick's always on the go.
It's true.
And he can carry Carl with him, he's on the go, but Carl's there, or Carl's got a job, whereas Judith is just doing what kids do. So I don't know, man. I think it was a mistake. What do you think? Do you think that it was a mistake? Too early to tell?
I'm trying to be hopeful. That much I can say. I mean, I don't know. I enjoy a wild card thrown into the mix, and this is certainly a one heck of a wild card. So
I just hope it wasn't done for shock value and shock value alone. That's my main hope, is that it was done, and like we're going to have some incredible repercussions of this that are going to just change the landscape of the show. Because then again, though, I will say, a lot of people complain that the show's just been stale the last couple of seasons because it's just kind of the same old thing. This could completely change the landscape of The Walking Dead.
Let's hope there's a master plan in place.
I'm going to hope it is. I still think it was a bad idea, but you know what? I could come back in like 3 months and be like, okay, I think that we've got some grade A storytelling, stemming off of Carl's death. So what do you think? Comment below and let us know what you think about this, because I don't know, it's such a divided thing. I've had a few people saying, I think Carl needed to go, but I mean, the vast majority seem ready to riot. We thought Daryl's death would start a riot. Looks like Carl's is.
Yeah, so it seems.
And what we're saying, before we go, clarify a few things that I've read, that I've seen people commenting in some of the comments on our other videos. I'm seeing that Carl did not leave voluntarily. It was not because he wanted to go to college or whatever, that I've been seeing people say that Carl left voluntarily.
Yeah, Chandler Riggs' father is pretty livid.
Right. No, he's not happy. He had this huge post basically saying, like, sitting here watching my son get fired, right before his birthday, and after being told
Scott
he'd be
Gimple
there.
broke the news like 2 weeks before Chandler Riggs' 18th birthday.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Was pretty much told he'd be there for the next 3 years at least. And so I don't know, man. There's some drama behind the scenes, but Scott Gimple assures us that it was all purely motivated for storytelling and has nothing to do with Chandler Riggs. And he could be a good actor himself, but Scott Gimple seemed very upset to be letting Chandler Riggs go.
Let's hope he knows what he's doing.
Only time will tell, but let's discuss it in the comments section. Tell us what you think. Was it a good move? Was it a stupid move? Is it not a move at all, and Carl's going to be perfectly fine? The doctor from the hilltop's going to rush down and amputate his chest, and he'll survive.
Yeah, just pull out that whole section of ribcage.
Some people saying Carl got bit through his shirt, and the teeth themselves didn't actually penetrate the skin.
No, get out
there was
of
no
here.
hole in the shirt. I don't know, man. I mean, people thought that the folks saying Glenn was still alive were crazy, and they were like, just face it, people, Glenn's dead. We watched his guts come out, and alas, we didn't. So I don't know. I'm on the Carl's dead train, though. I think that it's done. I think that we are losing a great
that would
character.
Be a logical conclusion.
But who knows? If you've got some cool theory as to how he could be alive, any discussion, and be nice to each other.
Maybe it's a doppelganger.
Right,
Who's to say?
Yeah, it's like, oh, Dad, by the way, we created cloning.
Yeah.
He's a time remnant, is what he is.
Could be, yeah.
Flash reference there. So leave it in the comment section. Let us know what you think. And also make sure to subscribe to our channel for more things Walking Dead. A lot of different content. We want to start getting into like a little gaming. We're thinking about checking out some like cool abandoned locations around the area. So who knows?
We do comic book reviews.
Yeah, we do. We've actually got a comic book review of the latest issue of The Walking Dead, 174.
Yes, check it out.
Great issue, and it's all about Negan.
It's Negan-licious.
And Maggie. So go check that out.
Maggie-licious too.
Hey. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we will see you again. I'm Justin.
And JP.